We're with Adam Leon today. He's the writer-director of the movie Gimme the Loot, which is playing this year at the Philadelphia Film Festival, and it was also the Grand Jury Prize winner at this year's South by Southwest Film Festival.
Yes.
Anybody who's living up in this fine city knows, but when someone on the Mets hits a home run, this goofy apple pops out of the stands and everybody goes crazy.
Man, come on.
Somebody's gonna write graffiti on that apple, and their name's gonna ring out in our world.
We're gonna bomb that stupid-ass apple. Everybody gonna see our name.
It's about these two graffiti writers from the Bronx, Malcolm and Sophia, two teenagers, and they have a rivalry with a crew from Queens, and it's kind of about their adventures over the course of a couple days as they try to pull off this spectacular scheme.
No, it's a cool movie.
Thank you.
You know, like it's not kids. I understand.
Right, right.
I mean, it's a film about urban teenagers or black kids in New York City, but it's a comedy.
Right.
I mean, tell us about your inspiration when you do it this way.
Yeah, I mean, that was really important. That was a jumping off point before even I had the story. I grew up in the city. I went to public school. I went to a diverse school with a lot of kids from a lot of different all different areas of the city. And then I had co-directed the short film a few years ago that used non-professional actors, used a couple graffiti writers, and it's kind of taken with this idea of these kids that I knew growing up and these kids that I was working with that come from really tough backgrounds. They have, as we like to say, vivid lives, but they're not necessarily all miserable people. And that they're in some ways just kids. So we wanted to stay really true to their existence and what their life is, but at the same time, not necessarily most movies that I see that are about that, everybody gets AIDS or, their parents rape them. And those stories are out there and those stories need to be told too, but hadn't really seen too much in this setting where it was just kids being kids. And I felt like in some ways that humanizes the characters more. And so that was a really essential core idea behind the movie.
Yeah, and you've got some amazing actors. I mean, can you talk about working with the actors in your process? I mean, what really impressed me the most and was inspirational to me was like it has a very DIY kind of feel to it. I mean, I know you use like great equipment and great cinematographers and stuff, but it still has a really like you're there kind of feeling. And I know you didn't have a lot of time to shoot. I mean, how do you get the performances?
Yeah, I think that, we worked with really talented young actors, and they're mostly non-professional, they're mostly first-timers, but I think sometimes it's a compliment, it feels like a compliment to me, but it sometimes can shortchange the actors. People will see the movie and feel like, oh, I just went and I found these people. And these actors, especially the leads, Ty and Tashiana, are really very, very different than the characters they portray. And the truth is that they're really extremely talented, very focused craftsmen. And we did a lot of, because of the nature of shooting, because of how we did shoot it, very DIY, very sort of homemade feel, which we were trying to embrace. We wanted to go in really knowing our stuff, really being on the same page. So we did a lot of rehearsal, we did a lot of workshopping, did a lot of character work with the actors, and they were great. They were always they always wanted to go the extra mile. Sometimes in rehearsal, I would say, okay, I think we're in a good place with this, and they would be like, I'm not there yet. And so, having that kind of talent that just wants to make great work is why we were able to pull this off.
You always saying, oh, we're gonna be the biggest writers in New York City. Well, do what you gotta do to make that happen.
It's this girl, Jenny, private school girl.
Come in, into the bedroom.
What's the secret in terms of doing a low-budget independent film on the streets of New York? I mean, what's the key? What lessons do you take away from the experience?
I think the key, for me, without a doubt, is a lot of it's about getting lucky, but it's also about putting yourself in the position to take advantage of that. And I think there's sort of two keys. One is being aware that so many things are going to go wrong and not letting that trip you up, trying to use disadvantages to advantages, use everything you can have when something goes wrong. How can this actually help us make the movie better? But really for me, the core thing when you're pulling off a project like this is team building. And that is the cast and that's the crew. And that's the producers and financiers too. Making sure everybody's on the same page, making sure that people want to tell this story and want to tell it together. And because there's so many long hours, there's so many challenges that you're going to face, and if everybody kind of is willing to embrace that and be aware of that and wants to make the same movie, then I think that you can get through it. And I was so lucky to be able to have a great team behind me.
awesome film. You definitely have to check out Give Me the Loot. This comes direct. It's Real Black certified.
Wow, thank you very much.
So, hey, you know, it's that.
You're not asking me anything.
You're you.
She's what? Pretty? You soft.
You ain't so tough after all either.
Hey, what's up? I'm Adam Leon, writer-director of Gimme the Loot, and you're watching Real Black.